Hi Anant, welcome to Software Testing Hack.
Hi Akshita.
Yeah, profile. Coming to a profile, you are into manual testing plus automation testing using Selenium and TestNG, right?
Yes,
Okay, your main skill set. Okay. So shall we start now?
yes, sure.
Yeah. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi Akshita, I am Ananta. I have total 4 years of experience as a QA engineer, and I am current. So I am all over the manual testing. In that I perform smoke testing, then functional testing, then user acceptance testing and globalization testing. And for manual testing, we are using Jira as a project management tool with X-ray. And for automation testing, we are using Selenium with the Java. And for that, we are using data-driven framework. And for testing purpose, we are using TestNG framework. Apart from that, I am also aware about the API testing by using Postman.
Okay.
So that's it from my side.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So okay. So how many years of experience you have manual and how many years in automation testing?
Last 1.5 years, I actually working on the automation, and
Hmm.
2.5 years I am working on manual.
Okay. So overall, you have 4 years, 4.5 years, right? Experience.
No, no, 4 years.
Oh, okay, okay,
2.5 plus 1.5.
okay. So got it. And could you please explain me the process that you are following in your project for testing?
Basically, we are following 3 weeks of Agile Sprint, and in that 2 week of development and 1 week of testing. In development, we write down the test scenario, high level test and test cases. And once development week is done, then we start the user story testing.
Okay. So when you'll in this
And
process, yeah.
okay, please go ahead.
And in this process, when you will write the test cases, then.
In development week 2 week of development, we write down the test cases and review it from this self review and the peer review.
Okay, okay. Okay, I saw that you have worked on globalization testing as well. So what is globalization testing? And as part of testing, what you are doing?
Globalization testing nothing but the we check our application is support with the different languages, and we are using the Google Translator to check our application is support with the different languages or not.
Okay, basically, in which languages your application, languages your application supports, basically.
Our application which support multiple language like Marathi, Hindi, English, then Gujarati, then Kannada, then Tamil, Telugu.
Okay, okay, great. Okay, so you are following Agile only, right? Agile process itself, you are following, right?
Yes.
So in Agile, what do you think is something which is disadvantageous? You think that that can be improvised or that needs to be changed, or what is the difficulty that basically you have faced as part of Agile?
Basically, we are face the difficulty that is nothing but the change request. We can say that
Mhm.
many times we face actually. Suppose there is a one user story and development is done almost. Then they
Hmm.
then they are saying this will be the we can implement that functionality with that particular functionality.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is the most difficulty challenges I think from my
Yeah. True, that is true. So when it comes to sprint, you will be involved in all the sprint activities like sprint planning, retrospective, all the other meetings as well.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Basically,
Hmm.
so for Estimation, we are generally following the Fibonacci series of estimation like 1, 3, 5, and max to max 8 story point we consider for development with the
Hmm.
testing.
Okay. How you will actually, prioritize your stories then? And based on what you will prioritize the stories,
Uh, User story,
right?
that actually we discuss.
Hmm.
Our business analyst will take all that
Hmm.
responsibility. Which user story we take, they have no call with the PO with
Okay.
yes, and they are uh, uh, write down all the user story before starting each and every sprint, and
Hmm.
then in planning they explain the which user story we have to take in our next sprint.
Right. So basically, based on suppose say this functionality should come first, and then after the other, task might be prioritized later. So if main functionality should be prioritized at top, right, and then after we will prioritize the so user stories which comes under that. Suppose say in
Yes,
case of
basically we
login functionality, we will prioritize the very basic change. Like first is login functionality should be done. So that should be taken as first priority. And later on, we can, after login, whatever screen comes, like home page, that can be prioritized at next. So like that, based on that, we will prioritize, right?
yes, basically, and also suppose there is a we cannot accept any change request during our release, and we delay our user story testing. In that case, we focus on releases only.
Hmm. Right, right, right. So, and so how are you writing your test cases basically? I mean,
So basically, we are using
where you'll write?
yes, I tell you all the process actually. We write
Hmm.
down the test cases in the Excel, and we are using Xray plugin. That is we are using with the Jira. So in that we convert Excel into the CSV, and that all we import uh, test cases. There is option in X-ray we can import direct it CSV, and there is option like a summary, then actual result, then expected result, then there is a one more option with our project, that is a budget, that is nothing but the project, and the test type. This is a manual or automation. Then we select all that and we just click on import, then all test cases will be imported, and then we create the test set for each user story, and after that we created the test execution, and all they are we attach with our main test plan. So
Okay.
that is process.
And what are the techniques that you have used as part of your writing your test cases?
uh,
Test case
what
techniques,
methodology?
Yeah. What are the test case techniques that you have applied while writing your test cases?
So basically we are using the boundary value analysis and the equivalence class partitioning technique.
Hmm. Hmm.
Generally we use while write down, and
Okay. Okay. So as part of your testing, you will be doing something like integration testing, right? So what is integration testing mean?
So integration testing means suppose one of functionality come in suppose current sprint, and remaining functionality comes in suppose 2 or 3 sprint later.
Hmm.
Then we doing the integration testing. Suppose we
Okay.
integrate one module with
Hmm.
another, so they
Correct.
are working fine or not. That is nothing but the integration testing.
Right. 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 So as part of automation testing, have you ever found any defect while
Uh,
automating or while after you have automated, but and then you got some defects? Is there any chances that you have got some defects like that?
yes, generally we basically when uh, we trigger the automation like a smoke or regression, then we analyze each test case by doing firstly we debug it, actually where it fails, and after that we perform the manual steps whatever test cases actually. And if I have found any difficulty, then I will ask with the manual tester, is it okay or not, there is a problem in the script, or it is a bug actually. So when this confirm, then we raise new bug.
Okay. So what is the process you follow to rise a defect? What are the
So
steps?
basically, first step is test to reproduce, then actual result, expected result, and we write down the environment and we attach the screenshot. So that is the four main steps we follow. And then we have to in Jira we have to mention what is the severity, then priority. When there is a we link that particular epic to that particular bug. If there is a user story, then we link that defect to the user story.
So what is epic?
So epic is nothing but the collection of all user stories, we can say multiple user story.
Exactly, correct. So, so whenever you have any defect which is been, some critical defect which has been leaked to the production, have you ever faced such a situation where, a defect got leaked to the production and you have to hotfix that defect?
Yes, basically client in labels there is a in Jira there is a labels and there is a option there is a patch. So when there is a patch come, then we will be fix it today only, or we can say tomorrow.
Hmm.
And when bug is come, we try to reproduce it firstly, and next one if defect is not reproducible, we mention in comment actually there is a bug comment, we try to reproduce it but it is not reproducible. Or we can say there is a lot of difference in test data actually, they are using different test data and we are using different test data. So in comment we also mention the test data which we are using and try to reproduce it. We are trying but not reproducible, please try it by using this test data, we mention in that particular defect in comment.
Suppose you got to know the reason. Okay, so then will you sit with the developer to find the root cause? Like how,
Yes.
what? Yeah. So can you please
So
explain? Yeah.
so basically our in scrum we discuss that is a what is a bug actually, and all the business analyst or we can say developer testers, uh, and they find the which developer we have to work actually. Then what is the defect, suppose basically some developer work on that particular functionality, defect is actually UI or backend, that yes defect is
Got
come
it.
from backend or we need to fix for UI also, then it is fine.
Okay. Okay. So say you have missed a defect and you did hotfix as well. After that, what is your action plan as part of to reduce that leakage of defect to the production?
So basically we check when bug is come from production, then that particular functionality we check all the impacted areas, sometimes we miss it actually, and that is why production bug is come actually, we
Yeah,
miss it.
but later
And
you
when
have to take an action step that, in further testing also you should not get such a situation that you leak the defect to the production. What are the
so
action items that you make?
so basically I make basically all the impacted area we check for that particular bug, where there is actually impacted, uh, means all functionality we check,
Okay.
that is action
So
plan.
you will also make sure the coverage, right? Test
Yes.
coverage.
Yes.
You can also include it as part of your test case. Suppose some of the test cases we might not have written it, and while executing also we might not have found it. But when it is in production, then you have to come and write that and note it somewhere again and again. We have to test it. That is one thing that you'll make sure as part of whether the leaked defect. But in upcoming sprint also, whenever you have some other user stories, at that time you have to make sure your test coverage. the requirement and the test cases are matching. And along with that, also we can sit with developer and understand the user story completely and then test it. That time also, the chances of defect leakage will be less, right? You agree?
Yes.
Okay, great. So when do you perform the regression testing?
So basically, we follow generally 3 weeks of agile, and in suppose current sprint there are 5 user story. We test it, and all defects come get fixed, and we retest it, and the market completed. When next sprint start, first week of development, we start the regression of last sprint. Actually, that is the process we follow in our project.
Last sprint's work, you will do it in the next sprint, right?
No, no. Means there is a suppose in current sprint there are 5 user story, and we
Okay.
test it. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
When next first week of next sprint, we start the regression of last sprint.
But
Five user
when you
story.
will be the release? Really, after 3 weeks of sprint, after the third week, then you will be releasing that particular product to the production, right?
No,
Three
no.
in 3 weeks
Generally
of
they are
sprint. Hmm.
no. Generally we don't follow the release according to the sprint.
Okay.
So yes, there is a month release, or we can say 1.5 or 2 months generally.
Oh.
They are discussing all
Mm-hmm.
their decision with the client actually.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And so, what is the difference between smoke testing and sanity testing?
So smoke testing is nothing but we check the critical functionality and major functionality of application, and we check the stability of the application by doing, and first testing we perform after receiving the build from the developer. That is nothing but the smoke testing. And sanity testing is nothing but the suppose there is a bug in the login functionality, and developer is get fix that bug, and we test that bug. That is nothing but sanity testing is basically nothing but we test it on particular that functionality only. That is the sanity testing. And sanity testing is
Hmm.
a subset of the regression. And
Hmm. Right. Okay. So now we are done with manual testing questions. So we'll move on to Java questions. So as part of your automation, what are the important features that you have implemented? Java features that you have implemented.
Java feature, that is nothing but the inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, then interface, and uh, encapsulation. That is all OOPS concept we are using
Right,
in
right, right.
Selenium.
Okay, okay. So have you ever used final keyword in Java?
Yes. So final
What is
keyword,
that?
when we final keyword is nothing but when we use final keyword with the class, then class cannot be inherited. When you use final keyword with the variable, then value cannot be changed. And when you use final keyword with the method, then method cannot be inherited.
Method cannot be overridden. Class cannot be inherited. Yeah.
Sorry, method cannot be
Overridden.
overrides.
Yeah, correct. So what is the difference between final keyword, finally, and finalized?
So final keyword, as discussed, we use with the class methods and variable.
Hmm.
So finalize a method actually to which is used to the clean up activity of object class before in the garbage collector. And finally, and finalize is the method. And finally is a
Okay.
block
Hmm.
which will be always executed uh, with and don't care with try and catch block.
Right. Even though if it is passed or failed, it will execute. It will
Yes, it
execute
will
even though it is
execute.
failed. Right. Okay. Can you explain me the logic to swap two numbers without using temporary variable?
No, sorry.
No. So just give a try. You know how to do it with temporary variable? Swapping two numbers.
not, I'm not remember right now.
Okay. Okay. So with temporary variable, what happens? Say there is a variable a, which I have assigned a value 10, and another variable b, which is having value 20. If I want to swap this 10 into the place of 20, and I mean a to the value of b and b to the value of a, just give a try. Think of the logic.
No, actually.
Okay, let me tell you. If you take temporary variable, right, then what you can do is you can assign the value of whatever is stored in A to that temporary variable. Suppose say A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. So I'll take another variable called temp. Okay. I'll assign the value of A. Temp is equal to A. So now the value of temp is 10. Okay. And next what I'll do, I'll assign this value of B to A. At that time, what happens? A is empty now. So the value of B will be assigned to A. And then after, I can assign the value of B to A. So what happens? Now the value of A becomes 20 and B becomes 10. That's how we can exchange with temporary. If you don't use temporary variable, then you can go with either subtraction, addition and subtraction, or multiplication and division. These are the other two ways that you can do the swap.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, then let's move on to Selenium. Can you explain the architecture of Selenium WebDriver?
Uh, yes. So there is a supermost interface that is nothing but the search contest, and we implement search contest with the uh, web remote web driver, and there is a we can extend that with the web driver, and last there is a different classes like Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Edge, then Safari.
Okay. So basically, through what it communicates to the WebDriver, there is a protocol, right? What is that protocol through which it communicates?
All.
Have you heard of JSON wire protocol?
Uh, yes,
So
but
whatever code we
I'm
have written will communicate and will be converted into JSON format. And first it will communicate with the browser drivers like Chrome browser, right? And then after those values, I mean, so sorry, those web drivers, the Chrome drivers, then it will communicate it with the real drivers. So it is through JSON wire protocol. So
okay.
this is main actually. JSON wire protocol you have to remember. And have you used any weights in your script?
Yes, basically we are using implicit weight and explicit weight.
Yeah, what both of them are.
So
What happens?
implicitly weight generally applicable with the all the web element which are on the web page before throwing an exception, no such element. And
Hmm.
explicitly weight generally before we use when before throwing an exception like element not interactable, element not clickable. that time, and explicitly weight is applicable for specific element
And what is the need to implement this weight?
to avoid the exception, that is no such element exception, or we can say element not interactable, element not clickable, element not visible.
Yeah, true. But to provide the
To
synchronization, right?
perform the
Sorry,
to
sorry, go ahead.
perform this
Hmm.
to perform some action, we have to load to load the particular element. Yes, yes,
Basically, it is
that is the main
synchronized to
reason.
have the synchronization.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and what is XPath and how do you write the XPath?
So XPath is nothing but the we can say that is a locator of Selenium to find the particular web element which are present on the web page. And there are two types of XPath, that is relative XPath and absolute XPath. And we can write the XPath by using double forward slash then tag name, or in square bracket at the rate attribute name is comma attribute value square bracket complete. And we can write down by using text also, we can write using contains also.
Okay. And you mentioned about absolute XPath and relative XPath. So, what are they? And which one
So
is better to use?
so absolute XPath generally start from the root node of HTML DOM, and absolute XPath is starts with the single forward slash, and absolute XPath is provide the less security, and relative XPath is start from the middle of the DOM, we can say, and relative XPath is start with double forward slash and provide the more security. And generally we are using the relative XPath to find the web element.
So, then which is better to use? Relative or absolute?
Relative XPath. Relative expert because they provide the more security.
Okay. Okay, so in Java, so sorry, in Selenium, we have something like get window handle and get window handles. What are they?
So basically, get window handle, we get only the parent window ID, and child window handles, we get the parent as well as child window both. And
Yeah, if you want to switch from one window to another window, what is the method that you use?
driver does switch to window.
Okay. So, so we have certain mouse events and then keyboard events, right, in Selenium. So, how do we actually perform mouse events and keyboard events in Selenium?
By using action class, we are doing that. Firstly, we create the object of the action class, and we have to pass the driver. And there are different methods like move to element, double click, contest click, drag and drop, and say we can perform the mouse or and as well as keyboard action like up,
Right,
down, arrow, bottom.
right, 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 right. So, so in TestNG, there is something like prioritization. What is the need to prioritize tests in TestNG? Yeah, and how do you prioritize?
So basically, if our requirement is suppose there are three test cases, and we have to execute firstly test one, assume that test two and test three, and if you not provide the priority, then priority is from alphabetical order, and we can provide use the priority as a negative, or we can say positive, and advantage is that according to our requirement uh, we can say we can we can execute test cases simply according to our requirement. That is use of
Right.
priority queue.
Yeah, how do you prioritize it? You can just say priority is equal to
Is equal to
the value.
one, or
Huh.
yes, yes, priority is equal to two, priority is equal to three.
So if I
I
have
should not
given a
prioritize.
priority, see, like one is there, five is there, three is there, and two is there. How does it execute now? For one test, it is one, three next, five next, and two next. Which one will
According
execute
to
them?
one, first, second, third, and five. One, two, three, five.
Okay. And the same priority is there for two tests at that time.
They are execute according to the alphabet. Actually, then suppose test name is test A and
Mm,
test B, and priority is the same.
mm.
Then they will execute priority one. Name start
Okay.
with alphabet.
Okay. So, and what is hard assert and what is soft assert?
Hard assertion is nothing but if in our test there are lot of steps, and if one of test is get failed, then execution will be stopped in case of hard assertion. And
Mm.
in soft assertion, if our if in a test there are lot of step, and one of step is getting due to somehow issue, and they are failing, but in soft assertion they will be check each and every steps, and our script is not stop actually in case of soft assertion.
Right. Right. So, yeah, we are done with our interview, Unant. So, if you have any questions.
So any suggestion you want to give, like regarding technical or attitude
Yeah,
or any
technically,
communication?
yeah, right. So technically, maybe logically, you have to, practice little more because whenever there is something like related to programming, some of the questions which are generally been asked only, you have to practice first, and you have to make sure you are, performing better in programming itself first at first. So logically, you make sure you have to be little strong. Manual part, you're good.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay, and
thank you.
automation also good, na?
Yeah, you're good at automation as well.
Okay.
Just you have to understand the logical part and practice it.
Okay, sure, Akshata. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anand, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.